I was outside with my dad for a minute. He asked me to do something with him. And I said, I need to go talk to my people, to my friends, to my brothers, to my kinsmen, is what it comes down to. Never sin again. 100% guaranteed. Starting today, never sin again. I know you're like, no way. No way. Well, can a dead man sin? Can a dead man sin? Were you not crucified with Christ? Were you not crucified with Christ? Come on, you know this. You completely know all this. Nothing I'm saying is new. It should not be of any unheard thing of that you don't sin anymore. Come on. You know this. You know this. You know it. So the penalty for sin is death. You know that too. And you know that sin separates you from God. You were raised that way. This is nothing new at all. I mean, at all. So, if you are crucified with Christ, how is it that you still sin? Leave that body on there. Leave that body on there and never sin again. Ever. It's in your mind. So David called this the blameless way. And wait till you see some of the incredible things that are in the Psalms. If you say you sin, it comes from your heart and you can't read the Bible. David called it the blameless way. And the only way to read the mind of Christ is to be without the curse of sin, blameless. It's not as you think it is and was. The lie is that you can sin and still be in Christ. Sin is not something you do, ladies and gentlemen. Sin is everything done in the body of sin. The old Adam, the old man. And the penalty for sin is death. So if you crucify the old man, he's gone. He's gone. And this is the work of God, to believe that you are indeed crucified with Christ, and it's no longer you who live, but Christ. That is the gospel right there. Be crucified today and be made alive. We're going to start here in just a second. Just give everybody a little chance to come in. Would you please share this video, because we're gonna be going through the Psalms again. Please share the video. There's only a few of us on the earth. A few of us. Only a few of us. In fact, there's only 144,000 of us on this earth right now. 144,000 men without the curse of sin. And the women that are without the curse of sin, if they have babies, those babies would be born without the curse of sin. That is the promise delivered through Isaac. And that, for the first time in world history, ladies and gentlemen, it is possible again through Jesus Christ that a man and a woman without the curse of sin can have a child without the curse of sin. And that is the blameless way. And David taught that. Solomon taught that. Moses taught that. The word is in your heart. It's in your mouth. It's near you. And all you got to do is believe and make that great confession that, yes, I was crucified with Christ, and it is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life that I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God. The life that I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God. I mean, do you understand what that means? That by you live by faith. Like right now, your life is hidden in Christ, and you got to believe that by faith. So if I ask you, do you sin? If you say, yes, we all sin, there's no one perfect, you have not died, and your life is not in Christ. And you don't live in Christ by faith, because if you lived in Christ by faith, there's no sin in Christ. So how is it that you sin? It is amazing that the whole world doesn't want this. This is sinlessness. This is for those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, and nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. Women want to leave their husbands because they don't want it. Children are rejecting their parents because they don't want it. Churches are rejecting the truth because they don't want it. Americans are following a man because they don't want it. Americans deify everyone who gets assassinated because they don't want it. They don't want sinlessness, because if you are sinless, you will be hated. And if you speak out for sinlessness, you will be hated. And the only thing you could say for it is that the penalty for sin is death, to be crucified. It is amazing that nobody wants this. You don't want to share this video. You don't want to know anything about what's in this video. It's crazy. It's crazy. Right there. Right there. Psalm 47. Right, 4. He chooses our inheritance for us. Oh, yeah, you still sin? If you say you sin, he hasn't chosen anything for you, because he doesn't create sin. He doesn't create anything evil. Why don't you want that? Why don't you believe that? Why don't you believe that you were born again? Gosh, you think you're born again to sin? That is insane. Insane. Nobody wants this. I'm watching the numbers. I'm watching people come in and they just leave. They don't want it. I don't know what else to do. What do you want me to say? If you were crucified with Christ, you do not sin any longer. Sin is not something you do. It's everything done in the body of sin. And why don't you want that? But why don't you want to crucify the old man? It's amazing. It is amazing. You want to worship Charlie Kirk. You want to worship Donald Trump. You want to worship MAGA. You want to worship a Democrat. You want to worship anything else but God. You want to worship yourself. You want to worship a man. You don't want to worship Jesus. You don't want to be born again without the curse of sin. You can't say you are without sin, because you are guilty of sin, because you cannot say you are without sin, because you haven't been crucified, because you won't believe Christ. You think that holiness is going to a campus and declaring how this is right and that is wrong. That's what got that guy assassinated. That was not Christ. Christ had nothing to do with that. It was the devil. Sin is believing you got the knowledge of good and evil. That's Adam. That's the old Adam. Right? And you, because I don't use Charlie Kirk as clickbait, you won't stay here. You're not even interested in holiness. You don't want sinlessness. You don't want to be like Jesus. You want to be like Donald Trump. You want to be like J.D. Vance. You want to be like Charlie Kirk. You want to be like Malcolm X. You want to be like Martin Luther King, but you don't want to be like Jesus, because if you were like Jesus, you would be without sin in the world. You'd be born again. You'd be a new person, a new creation. But you don't want that. You have to have your identity in a political person. You have to have your identity in what you believe is right and wrong, and not what God believes is right and wrong. You won't let God be true and every man a liar. You believe every man that is on your side, and that's what you believe. You don't believe God because you believe you have the knowledge of good and evil. And you think that's good when it's not. That is what Charlie Kirk is. And it's a shame. It's a shame. And you guys want to make him a martyr. You want to use him as clickbait. You can't even understand that he's on every news station because he is clickbait. You've done this. You did this. Because you want sin. You love sin. You want to be entertained by sin. You want to identify yourself with sin. Do you sin? You'll say, yes, I sin. Oh, everybody sins because you are guilty. I don't sin any longer. I'm born again. Why can't you be the same? Because you don't want to be the same. You don't want to be without sin. You want to be able to say you sin, and you want to be able to say that you keep yourself from it. That is the devil. That's self-righteousness. And that is what the people speaking on podiums today say. And that's what they believe, because if they get to say what is right and wrong, it makes them God. And if you get to say that you sin and that I sin, it makes you God. And that's what idolatry is. And that you don't want to see that sin is having the knowledge of good and evil and believing that you know what's best better than God does. Oh, my God. Right there. He chooses our inheritance for us. The glory of Jacob, whom he loves. He disciplines. He disciplines. And you think just because Esau I hated, you don't understand. You think it's Western hate. That's not, he doesn't love Esau. Esau, he hates him. No, it's Jacob I disciplined, Esau I didn't. We want to be on the Esau side. There's no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Esau, a man of a field, Christ born in the manger in a field. Oh my gosh. You guys have fallen under the sorcery of Jacob. Because the one who says he's Jacob is not Jacob. He is of the synagogue of Satan. Yeah. Where he deifies men. It amazes me that a man was used as a human sacrifice, and you have all followed the spell that he was the sacrifice to make occur. Right? And my gosh, you guys are so blind to what's happening right in front of your faces, right? Look down between your legs and you'll see that that's why you say you still sin. The fact that you say you still sin is why you've deified Charlie Kirk. The fact that you say you sin, the fact that you're circumcised, the fact that you will not speak out against Israel, and when you do, you're done. Right? So So that's what happened. You just can't see that. That the friend of Israel, we got the threat. We got the threat. We got it. You got it. Right after Benji tweeted and gave 4 or 5 friends of Israel statements. That was he was saying, the moment you stop, this is what happens. A week before, Charlie Kirk spoke out against Israel for the first time. Bam, done, out. But it is a ritual, ladies and gentlemen. Look for the K's, look for the 11s, look for all of this. Gosh. I mean, you guys can sit there and go, MLK, JFK, CJK now. We got all these K's, and you can't see what this means. The K is the killing of the king. The king. God has ascended with a shout. The Lord with the sound of a trumpet. And that ain't Donald Trump. With the sound of a trump. Sing praises to God. Sing praises to our King. Sing praises. For God is the King of all the earth. Sing praises with a skillful psalm. God reigns over the nations. God sits on his holy throne. The princes of the people have assembled themselves as the people of the God of Abraham. For the shields of the earth belong to God. He is highly exalted. And America, you have lost your shield, and you have set yourself up as a beacon of sin. Because you Christians in this country, Father, forgive me, for I have sinned. And now you are the children of the devil, for he sinned first. For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. For the disobedience of one man, all were shut up in sin. So if you say you sin, you are still in that first Adam who disobeyed. Gosh. Oh, I know. It's hard to do this without being angry, because if you don't want to be crucified, you want media full of death. You want that, and they gave it to you. It's the only way you will move seriously toward anything. And you were slacking. MAGA was slacking. MAGA was slacking. Now you're not, though. So what happened? What happened? It's better that one man die for the entire nation than an entire nation die. What happened was probably something that kept all of you alive. Probably that kept all of you alive. And that's what's crazy.